You're live. I have a new laptop, so I hope it's working. I hope people can hear us. So today's live, the theme for the poll was hoes in this house.
Well, brothel madams was my suggestion, and that's your interpretation.
So the options were the happy hooker, McCabe and Mrs. Miller, Belle de Jour, Walk on the Wild Side, and Pretty Baby. And overwhelmingly, people voted for Pretty Baby.
Y'all chose the least fun film.
Well, number 2 was the happy hooker.
And that's the only one on this list I haven't seen with Lynn Redgrave.
So I had never seen this movie.
No, I have before. I actually reviewed it when it came out on DVD. And what's funny, the day we watched it, Kino Lorber, I think, has just announced a 4K Blu-ray release of it.
Oh, like an upcoming release.
Yeah.
Oh, so we're trendy.
But I remember for years, it was unavailable, and yeah.
And Brooke Shields has a documentary called Pretty Baby on Netflix.
Yes,
which you have seen.
I saw it out of the premiere at Sundance. Yeah.
So this movie, the story, a preteen girl lives as a prostitute in New Orleans in 1917. So straight out the gate, this movie is a chop for me. I think it's really uncomfortable. I don't think there's any reason we needed to see that baby naked twice.
I think that is the folly. The true folly of the film is that there are two nude scenes with Brooke Shields as a 12-year-old. Because I don't.
And
know
because
why.
I didn't know anything about it, I'm like, oh, it feels gross because I'm imagining that there are a number of people who only watch this movie because they want to see a young girl naked. But I'm like, there's no way we're going to see her. And then we do.
We do.
So that was very troubling. And then we see it again. Mm-hmm. And there are a lot of, I don't know, it just feels very, all I kept thinking is like the people who are enjoying this, watching it, is what's making this so wrong.
Yeah, you're attracting a certain type of audience as well. But I think even on top of, because I think this film could be told, and the
story could be told.
And it's based on something real that happened. And there's a way to still protect children from the insidious elements of the story. But I don't know.
But the story is pretty simple. So Brooke Shields plays a child named Violet who has grown up in a brothel. Her mom is one of the prostitutes, played by Susan Sarandon. Hattie. And it's just her sort of like, living her life when a few things happen. But the main thing is that obviously this child is eventually going to start working. And she does, in a very uncomfortable scene where her virginity is auctioned off. Mm-hmm. And she takes her first client. So that happens. Then this brothel, the structure, is going to be taken over by the U.S. Navy. So I'm not quite sure what's happening, but we know that these women have to move.
It's the climate was changing. They're being drummed out of town. Yeah.
As a result of, so the brothel has to move. These women have to leave. And Susan Sarandon, Brooke Shields' mom, has met a man and is getting married and moving to, I think, Missouri. And she leaves Brooke Shields there. But what has also happened during this time is a man played by Keith Carradine, like an adult man, has shown up to the brothel because he wants to take photographs, which in 1917 is a big deal, of these women. And Brooke Shields falls in love with him, this little 11-year-old. And now she needs somewhere to go because her mom's left and the brothel's closing. So she moves in with him and he marries her. Mm-hmm. So it seems like they're going to live together until at the end of the movie, Susan Sarandon shows up with her husband, all dolled up, talking about, I told my husband all about you and he insisted we come get you. So they come get Brooke Shields and take her to raise her at the end. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so very simple.
And the closing shot on the eyes of Brooke Shields, on Violet, from the child's perspective. I think it's notable that Susan Sarandon was told not to take this role by her agents, not because of the subject matter, but because once you start playing a mother, and I think was she in her 30s? Hollywood will typecast you and you will always play a mother after that. So there was some level of braveness for her taking this role. But she was also dating Louis Malle. She would later be the director, and who's I remember probably 12 years ago, you watched Louis Malle's Viva Maria with Brigitte Bardot and Jean Moreau. You probably don't remember it, and George Hamilton. But Louis Malle, a very big deal at the time. Susan Sarandon would get an Oscar nod later on for Atlantic City, which I still haven't seen. But
what did I like? I do think for her first acting role, right?
No.
Oh,
we actually
it's her first movie.
Alice, Sweet Alice.
Oh, you're right. We did review her first acting role.
We did. That's a Blu-ray when it came out on Blu-ray.
But I think Brooke Shields it's pretty impressive. But then I was also very bothered thinking, what did the director tell her in certain scenes for her to react in a certain way? But I spent the morning listening to Brooke Shields in interviews talking about the documentary and talking about this film. And she says that this was like the best experience of her acting career. She's very proud of the movie. Everyone wanted to put all this shit on her, but she wasn't feeling that at the time. She says the same thing about Blue Lagoon. She talks about things that happened during the filming of Blue Lagoon that looking back don't seem right, like them having to be naked together. But she says all the sort of like the sexual awakening stuff people put on her back then, that was not present while filming. That was something that the studio sort of conjured up to get promotion for Blue Lagoon in particular. But in this film, Pretty Baby, she talks about how it was a very nice experience. So, I guess it just the subject matter and the way it's presented, because I agree with you. I do think there's a way to, because things like this happened, they still happen. Children are being abused sexually. Children are put in really odd situations with because it doesn't have to be a brothel. Like you have women who bring all kinds of men into the home, and then those men do inappropriate things with the children, which to me seems very similar to what's happening in this movie.
Well, yeah, and yes, it happened then. It's happening now. It's still going. Even Ava Ionesco, whose mother was a famous photographer, or an infamous, because she was taking nude photographs of her preteen daughter, and she made a movie about her experiences as the daughter. And it's like, well, how can you take away?
But the point of bringing
needs to be discussed.
The point of bringing it up is that these things do happen, so it is a story that can be told. I'm just so bothered that I don't think we needed to see this child sexualized. It could have been implied.
Yeah, I agree. Mm-hmm.
And actually, I think the tone of the film, which I'm assuming the director or the filmmaker was trying to keep it very basic and not exploit anything, but as a result, the film feels a little like do to me.
Well, it feels very flat in a way, like it's just presenting this is this world that look how far we've come, but have we?
The result doesn't warrant. I don't think anything would have warranted seeing this girl naked, but I think the result doesn't even warrant the discomfort of everything else that's happening. Sure. I do feel like Susan Sarandon does a good job. Brooke Shields does a good job.
I think Brooke Shields is quite good in it. It is impressive.
Here, let me just start going through my notes.
It premiered at Cannes in competition that year, 78, and it won kind of a special prize, a technical prize they called it, which was kind of created just that year for this film. I think a statement was trying to be made.
The opening scene is we see Brooke Shields looking like she's sitting witnessing something. In the audio, it sounds like a woman having an orgasm. So we hear that for a while until we turn the camera to Susan Sarandon, her mother. And she's actually giving birth to her brother. So the sounds she's making don't match what we would think. Mm-hmm. Although I've never been in a room with a woman giving birth. But it was a jarring and kind of effective moment, right? Because I was so uncomfortable thinking this child is witnessing this thing. But then when you realize it's kind of the opposite of what's happening, it's still kind of a big thing for a child to have to witness.
Mm-hmm. Well, everything she's witnessing is kind of like, how do we interpret this? And I think the movie does take pains to show it in her behavior, like with how after she loses her virginity, how she behaves with the young boys.
I think the most effective part of this storytelling is how this child has been affected by her environment, because even before, when she takes her first John and up till then, we can see that she's just mimicking what she sees these adult women who are prostitutes. She's mimicking what they say and do, which feels super icky, because it's like, what does this little child know about? I mean, there's a moment when she says like when she tells her first John that she feels like she's burning from
the steam is coming from inside.
Yeah, and it's just like, what does she know? Like, that's something she heard another woman say. I think that's very effective.
It is. Well, it reminds me of Christina Crawford in Mommy Dearest.
Yes.
And of course, Diana Scarwid, who played the older teen Christina, is in this film. Is her name Frieda?
Yeah. But so I think what's lacking, like the grit of what this environment doesn't feel that dangerous. And I wish it were a little more, because even the moment when one of the Johns gets mad, and we see him kind of be difficult prior, but at a point he gets really upset and starts shooting up the place.
Oh, that's Gerrit Graham from Phantom of the Paradise, who is sleeping with, I think Hattie sees him as her salvation.
Yeah, so he gets mad one night and is shooting up the house, like just shooting into the air. And then one of the workers hits him in the head with a hammer and kills him. And then that's a moment when the brothel madam says like, well, we got to get him out of here. And Susan Sarandon, you can go with his ass since you're the one who brought him. But because at first her character, Susan, is saying like, no, we can't do that. But then obviously they dispose of the body and Susan stays. But I just thought like,
but I don't know. I think, sure, I can see wanting it to be more gritty, but the film is trying to make it seem from a child's perspective. And when you're a kid, you don't know what's dysfunctional and toxic yet. Like you're just
no, that's
observing.
true. But I literally mean like more sweaty and uncomfortable. Like we're in New Orleans, 1917, and there isn't, we see her taking a bath twice, and we see her grooming herself a couple of times, which obviously is very important in that line of work. But I think those are moments when it could have been something that is implied, because you could get a child actor to just clip their toenails and they just think they're clipping their toenails, but really maybe we hear narration about how like you need to prepare for this person and make sure you're clean here. And those are moments when I feel like there could have been less direct impact on the child actor and more impact on the audience.
Kind of, if you think about how Anna Paquin was used in The Piano, like the editing, she's not really confronted. She's not really seeing what we think she's seeing in the film.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. Like, yeah, something like that would have made more sense. When Susan thinks that she might have to leave because the man was killed, she's telling Brooke Shields, like, okay, well, let's get ready to go. And Brooke is mad, like, no, I'm not going. And then she yells at Susan, like, I'm not your mother.
Well, Susan keeps calling.
Or Susan says, I'm your mother. And she says, no, you're not. And you say so all the time. Because prior to that, we hear Susan say to a John, like, oh, that's my sister.
That's my sister, yeah.
So those moments, I think, were very effective, like how toxic this environment is and how over a short amount of time, this young girl has developed into someone who has issues. Like she's only a kid and she already has this manner of speech. She already has this very like laissez-faire attitude towards sex. And even when she takes her first John, who we can presume was violent with her because we see bruises, we hear her scream. When it's all said and done,
that's one of the saddest parts, because no one's out there waiting to see if she might need help or if she's gonna be
okay. When we realize that like there are no adults standing by the door, like she's just up there on her own. And then when the John leaves and he looks like distraught, that's when the women run upstairs.
Yeah,
and then we see that Brooke Shields' character is pretending to be unconscious, and then she gets mad, like, y'all bitches didn't even check on me.
And her mom is like the fourth lady to make her entrance.
That was very upsetting. I think the most upsetting scene to me though is the auction.
Oh yeah,
because they bring this girl out like.
Well, anytime we're auctioning off people, it's kind of
right.
What are we doing?
But does like no they bring her out on a platter.
Yeah, like she's Red Lobster.
Or like when you go to Hawaii and they bring out the pig, and then the sparklers are burning, and then the madam is announcing her.
And they show all the faces of these men that are watching,
who are intrigued, but like
in the prep work, because when they're getting ready for her big day, the other ladies are saying, well, you have to seem like a virgin. You already don't seem like a virgin because you know all the things to say. And one of them says it should be like a rape.
Yeah.
Like, oh.
Yeah, it's just very upsetting. We have to shout out Antonio Fargas.
Yeah.
He's in the movie playing he works in the brothel and he plays the piano. And he seems like the only adult working there who has any damn sense, kind of, because he seems like he's bothered by the fact that this young girl, and he does try to say something at a point, and
that's where we get somebody calls them the N-word, yeah.
Well, the N-word, but they also, Brooke Shields says, like, I'm going to get, because there's like a voodoo priestess who works in the brothel.
That's Mae Mercer playing Mama Mosbury. She is in my favorite Clint Eastwood, Don Siegel film, The Beguiled, which you haven't seen, and I'll have to make you. She's also in Dirty Harry, but yeah, she's a lot of fun.
But I think it's Brooke Shields' character who says, like, I'm going to have old girl put some grist on you. Gree, sorry. And then that made me think of Goofer Dust. Mm-hmm. So I wonder if Goofer Dust is like Gree.
It's related in, I don't know if it's...
If Erica Alexander's watching, could you help me understand? Is Gree like Goofer Dust?
Hoodoo or voodoo, but it's something, yes. There's actually a film by called Gree from Muhammad...
Grist.
The guy from Chad. Who did A Screaming Man? I'm forgetting.
Speaking of auctioning off her virginity, we hear, so the brothel madam, who plays her?
Okay, so that's Frances Faye.
I didn't care for her. Not the character, the acting of the character.
Well, she was a singer, and she's only in like 2 or 3 screen credits and hadn't done anything since the 30s on screen. Also a lesbian who kind of had a vibe like Mae West, even in her youth. And she feels like an old Mae West here, and
except she's not smooth.
She's not. I think she's the worst part, kind of acting wise.
Yeah, but it's that moment at the auction where she's saying that Brooke Shields' character is like the finest delicacy in New Orleans has to offer. Like, oh my god.
And Barbara Steele is Josephine, one of the other ladies working at the brothel.
Who's fun.
She's
because every shot of her, she looks mad. And she's staring down someone.
Oh yeah, she's always giving. When I think there's a scene where she's watching Mae Mercer. Mae Mercer looks like she's throwing popcorn around, cleansing the brothel, and Barbara Steele's looking at her like, "You better not throw any of that on me." But
I thought another good scene that I think worked well is after Brooke Shields takes her first John, all of the adult women who also are prostitutes are commiserating with her, and it's very disturbing. But I thought that was an effective way. Like, we didn't need to see other things. We could have just witnessed the after. But I thought the direction and Brooke Shields acting, like with her kind of like, because she's kind of laughing with the women, but it seems like she's also in pain and clearly probably traumatized, and all of that, I thought she did do a very good job.
She did. It was shot by Sven Nykvist, who Ingmar Bergman and Woody Allen have used. We did a podcast on Cries and Whispers, my favorite Bergman film. I think the film does look good. It was written by Polly Platt, because it's based on a 1974 book that was adapted, because Keith Carradine's Edward Bellocq is actually... That was an actual real life person that photographed sex workers. But Polly Platt's interesting. Her last thing that she wrote, she's a producer, but the last screenplay she wrote was one of my favorite Sigourney movies, A Map of the World adaptation. But she wrote a film, if you're shocked at this movie, she wrote a film after this called Good Luck, Miss Wyckoff, which I've seen once, and that is hard to sit through. It's about this white lady who has a very... sexual obsession with this black man, this janitor, and their kind of unhealthy, toxic relationship. That movie hasn't aged well.
Another scene that I thought worked well, but is disturbing, is Violet, Brooke Shields, confronting these two other preteen adolescent boys who live in on the compound, and she's talking to them about sex, and it's uncomfortable, but again, I think those moments kind of made more sense, like how this environment's affecting her and how that trauma is sort of being placed on these other boys. And then we also see these boys are clearly affected because they're talking about sex in a way as if they know what they're doing, even though they clearly don't.
Yeah. And then the little black boy's mom comes in and has to explain to her, like, you can't do this with my kid. You're gonna get him killed.
Yeah, like, because Brooke Shields doesn't understand that she can't, like, this white girl can't be with this black boy in that way. So Carradine,
Keith Carradine.
His character is confusing to me.
Well, he's kind of like Humbert in Lolita. Like he is confusing, and I wonder if that's because they wanted to back off from making him seem too smarmy.
Yeah, because at first it's like, oh, he seems concerned. He obviously is attracted to Susan Sarandon, but then all of a sudden she's not interested in him because she just pops up with this new man. And then it seems like he's concerned for Brooke Shields, but then clearly
not really.
He's like, not really. And then, like, I'm assuming attracted to her, but then we never see him be physical with her, except she initiates a kiss with him and he kisses her back. Yeah, just confusing. And then it's like, when they live together, he is frustrated with her because she's a child. So she acts like a child, and children are fucking annoying, excuse me. So it's just really odd watching this adult man interact with his child bride as if she were a mature woman.
Well, yeah, she's dumping out his photographs.
He's breaking his photography stuff.
Like, well, could you explain to her? Like, she's not a kitten. She can understand your language.
Well, he buys her a baby doll, and it's like, I know there are a lot of adults who like dolls, so buying someone a doll is not that weird. But it's like, you're buying your child bride a doll because she still likes toys. Like,
well, even the title of the film, which is the title of the song, is we're supposed to be creepy at the door.
After they get married, Violet and Brooke Shields and Carradine, she wants a wedding because they get into a fight. He kicks her out, like he throws her out the house naked, and then she goes back to the brothel, and then she is going to leave with all the brothel ladies. But then Carradine shows up just out of the blue, like, I'm going to make you my wife if you still want to be. Mm-hmm. And of course she says yes.
Oh yeah, what else?
Because what else is she going to do? And she says, well, can all the ladies be in my wedding? So she has this wedding with all these women and just Carradine. And they're going on, like, I don't know where they were headed. I get, because all the women are in his car and they're driving by the river. Mm-hmm. And they see this boat going down the river. And all these men see these girls because they're like, they've taken a break to like get into the water. Like, several men jump off this boat and swim across the river.
Like sperm.
Oh, yeah, it looks like sperm going towards the egg. And there are like alligators in that water, and they swim right across and spend.
Like, men, when they think they can get in, oh my God.
And then it's just like when she says, I'm the bride, and no one, because someone says like, oh, you're the luckiest guy. And it's like,
because he has this harem
of women, but it's like, your bride is a child. We do see a couple of people in the brothel during the auction kind of be creeped out. Not creeped out, but kind of like they want to keep their distance, which I find, one of whom, I mean, these are all powerful men, including a senator, like,
who puts in a bid.
Who does put in a bid
on her virginity. But no, Hattie, the man that she's with, says a comment about how it's not right. And Susan Sarandon's like, oh, it's fine.
That's your daughter, Mama. Lady, in case you forgot.
I like this scene because I think it's creepy of him taking a picture in their pantaloons or whatever, where they're both posing the same way.
Yeah.
Which is kind of an iconic moment, but it's creepy.
There's so much that a person could talk about, and there's so many themes, and in that way it is effective as a story, and obviously based on actual things that happen. But I don't know that it's even, I think the way this story was handled, I don't think it deserves to be given any sort of like critical acclaim. for the things it has done right, because I just feel like it's just a really poor choice to do it this way.
I think it was capitalizing on the taboo subject matter, and I think it gets some things wrong. But I also think it's important to show it's pushing up on, these were boundaries it was pushing up on then. It's not like we were that permissive in 1978. There was an uproar about the film. Like child pornography was something people were talking about. But it's I think what's most interesting about it is to see, like, when we cross these boundaries, sometimes it's good to see what it looks like when we do.
Well, but crossing boundaries, like in this instance, could be telling the story. Like you can still tell the story and create conversation. But I think this was sensationalized because of the imagery, and that's where the mistake was. So it's like, well, I mean, it was just a poor decision.
I agree, and I think it'd be interesting if you've seen Pretty Baby to watch the same named documentary, because the manufacturing of Brooke Shields as sexualized in Hollywood as a child, and how that also played into this, and how we do that to young women. If you think about, remember the countdown to the Olsen twins turning 18? That shit is creepy. And we keep doing that to young women that were girls first.
What would you give this movie?
3.
I would give it 2 out of 5. Yeah. I'm looking at the comments. So yeah, Brooke Shields did say this was the best movie she was in. So it's like, but yeah, my commentary is not about her. Because you could, I mean, clearly her relationship with her mother and all the things her mother.
Well, you didn't see, I know you haven't seen the doc, but she clearly loved her mom, and her mom, saw an opportunity. She had this beautiful child that she pushed into the limelight, but her mom was also had a drinking problem.
Well, Brooke Shields' mom is kind of similar to Drew Barrymore's mom.
Then we could go with
exploitative
Dina Lohan.
I mean, all these, like, yeah, Macaulay Culkin's parents and. Okay.
Well, the Jacksons.
Hello, Shirley. Oh no, we're not going to talk about Joe Jackson. No, he was also.
He was a problem.
He was a problem. I'm being called. Uncle Joseph and cousin Nick. So Nick wants to know why he's the cousin, because I'm older.
He's not that much old. That sounds like the Addams Family.
I don't know if this movie's streaming. You have the DVD.
Yes. And if you want, I bet in 3 months you'll be able to buy it on Blu-ray if you want.
Oh, that's right. And it's coming out on Blu-ray. Let's see.
The Happy Hooker. That's based on a memoir of a hooker. I think.
Is there ever a happy hooker?
When I was in Amsterdam for a class a long time ago in the red light district, I remember talking to several female sex workers that really did like what they did. And you can go to a lot of these sex shops, and I think The Happy Hooker is a Dutch memoir, because you can find that book all over there. And I think there are 3 or 4 sequels.
For the handsome duo. Thank you.
Merci beaucoup.
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend it. I just can't recommend watching this movie, because I'm so creeped out by thinking that there are people who watch it just to see this child being sexual.
I think you could look at it as that's part of the necessary effect of it too, though. Like, you shouldn't watch something like this and be like, let me put on my soap opera next. Yeah,
but it feels like child pornography to me. Like there was no need to have this little girl.
I agree. And
like, I'm not talking about this. You could tell the story.
Again, I agree, but I think it's also interesting. The reaction is to show, like, well, this is why we have this boundary, and this is kind of ruinous to what could be an otherwise decent film.
But I don't know that you need to cross a boundary to show why we have a boundary. I think we already know.
I think some people very well need to cross boundaries to know.
No, because you don't, because this boundary's already been crossed. People go to jail all the time for possessing child pornography.
I'm not saying you. I think that some people have it like that's.
I don't think anyone who wanted to see this child naked watched this movie and thought, "Oh, I shouldn't be watching this." Like, I mean, that's not how that works. I'm not arguing with you or saying you're wrong. I just think that we need to remember there are a lot of, like, awful, creepy ass people out here. And I don't think that artistic value I don't think you're wrong. I just don't trust people. And I feel like there's certain content or, you know, ways of obtaining content that don't need to happen, like people getting injured in order to create something,
Yes,
is unnecessary. Like we don't need to do that.
like the Jackass films.
Right. Jodie Foster and Little Girl Down the Lane. Have you seen that?
Yes, we own it. I
Oh.
also read that book because my grandma had it. Jodie Foster, you know, I think they wanted her first because Taxi Driver had already come out. It's like, God, talk about traumatizing a young girl. Taxi Driver, like a child sex worker in that, and then this.
Wait, Jodie Foster is a little child in Taxi Driver?
And she's 14.
Oh.
She was Oscar nominated, and she's pretty good in that movie too. But yeah, Little Girl Who Lives Down the Lane is interesting and really creepy, but Jodie distances herself from that because I think she claimed that she might have been sexually assaulted on the set. Somebody was trying to do something, or the director was always trying to get her to be naked in that. And she's like, no, I don't want that.
I don't know a movie called Cobweb.
Yes, you do. You said we could get a screener, and we have one.
Oh, well, then we might review it. We're someone's favorite film reviewers. Thank you. The interview I listened to with Brooke Shields said that she was not aware of what she was doing.
You know, it's interesting.
But that she felt safe.
The documentary has her daughters, they're sitting at their kitchen table, her daughters talking to her about.
I saw that, actually.
Okay.
Yeah. And then they asked her, would you let us do it? And but you know, I don't want to talk too much about Brooke Shields because like she can feel how she feels about whatever. But listening to her speak at length, I was kind of surprised that her attitude about a lot of things seems very like she has an extraordinary life, right? Like who's had a life like, I mean, there are only a handful of people in all of history who have had a life where they're super famous for all of their life. And so none of us can relate to her. So her outlook on things should be unique, but it's very interesting to hear her talk because she's just kind of like, well, that's how it was. And, you know, for her, that is true.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
And she sells herself short. I think she's been good. I mean, I am a big fan of the film Freeway. I mean, she has a supporting role in that, but.
Have you seen Bug by William Friedkin?
Yes. I love, that's might be one of my favorite Friedkins, but I haven't seen it since like 2006-07. And that'd be a good secret film, but I think it's a shining hour for Ashley Judd.
Someone loves Susan Sarandon in Hunger, The Hunger.
Oh my God, I love The Hunger. From start to finish, you could put that film on at any time with the Bauhaus song opening, Deneuve. Yeah, I love that movie. It was a flop though, and Tony Scott decided to do Top Gun after.
Have you seen Sisters with Margot Kidder?
Yes, as have you. That is a favorite. The Bernard Herrmann score is fantastic. Yeah.
Someone's sister is visiting from out of state and watching for the first time. Can we give a shout out? I don't want to mess up her name. Is it Taisha?
Or Tisha?
I would think it's Taisha.
I would think so too, but.
Hi, Taisha.
Hi.
Meet Shirley. Oh, God.
Well, yeah, they're because what do they call it? The circus or the casino? They're calling it in this film when you get the clap. Really interesting film.
They call the clap the casino?
Yeah, they say it several times in this film. And if Bertrand Bonello's House of Pleasures from 2011 is must-see cinema, but it's about this brothel house and several of the prostitutes. You know, there's one that specializes in scat, and she gets sick and dies. Like.
Antonio Fargas plays a character named Huggy Bear. That's right. We had dinner one night at a vegan restaurant on Melrose called Crossroads.
It was for your friend's birthday.
Brooke Shields was sitting across from us.
Yeah, she was.
Yeah, she's stunning.
Yes, very much. The Beguile.
Cloak and Dagger is a movie. A very young Henry Thomas was running around with his imaginary friend and dodging bullets.
I haven't seen that Henry Thomas.
They put young kids through it in early.
They sure did.
Well, there were also no regulations for like how many hours kids worked. I'm sure there was no like their education was not a priority. Like I'm sure these kids weren't traveling with tutors getting quality educations.
Well, I just watched The Crush last week with Alicia Silverstone, and she divorced herself from her parents and then thus was able to work 12-hour days because she was still a teen. It's like, you know, Hollywood is
I bet you are very happy with Sigourney's upcoming series, The Lost Flowers of Alice Hart. Well, we've watched 4 episodes so far.
Yep.
And I'm enjoying it.
And they'll start coming out soon, so we got to finish that.
Yeah. Wasn't there a movie where Marlon Brando assaulted an actress with butter?
Maria Schneider, who I have her cousin's book that she wrote about her that I want to read and then rewatch it because I've only seen Last Tango in Paris once. But yeah, Maria Schneider claimed not to have known what was going to happen, and Bertolucci basically said that yeah, that's true because we wanted an actual reaction. Like, yeah.
What did you think of the documentary Pretty Baby?
I find Brooke Shields interesting. So I made a point to watch it out of all the things that were at Sundance, and it's interesting. You know, I've never seen The Blue Lagoon.
Yeah, we should do a Shelley Winters poll.
Love Shelley Winters.
She's fun.
Oh my God, she's so. Speaking of like nymphettes, she's the mother in Kubrick's Lolita, and she's so good in that. I think Shelley Winters is my favorite part in Lolita.
Okay, I'm reading comments. Sorry.
Oh yeah, Iceberg Slim. I have Trick Baby. I haven't read it yet.
Trick Baby.
Mm-hmm. That's where he outlined the bottom bitch.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Leon the Professional is a movie I love overall, but it is a controversial one too.
Yeah, I feel like that is good. And Natalie Portman's debut, I thought that they took pain. You know, Luc Besson's a creep too, but I thought that Portman's parents tried to shelter her a bit. But I haven't read anything about it in a long time. I would like to rewatch that.
There are questions about the actors' writer strike. Well, I think we'll talk about that on the podcast tomorrow.
Oh my God.
Because there have been lots of questions. Are you attending Outfest?
I saw a film last night. I'm seeing just a handful of stuff.
There's always Frankenhooker. Didn't we do a podcast about Frankenhooker?
We did. I love Frankenhooker. Susan Sarandon, you know, she's out there, but, you know, she's definitely an ally. I mean, if you think about The Hunger, that character was written to be drunk when she has sex with Deneuve, and she insisted on being sober, which is well documented in the celluloid closet. But because she wanted to make it seem like, of course, I would sleep with this beautiful woman. Don't make me seem like I'm drunk and don't have any agency.
What's happening on the podcast tomorrow? Well, today is Jackie Washington Day.
Oh, yeah.
So for people who know what that is, that'll be the secret film tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so lost and I have to pee. Okay.
You're right here.
Okay. Someone thinks we're awesome. I like both of you and your channel. Thank you.
I know, and I own Atlantic City.
Oh, someone's been to Crossroads. Yay. We discovered another vegan place we like.
Boulon
Thai in Silver Lake.
Mm-hmm.
It's very good.
Okay, so they have these hot wings that are clearly not wings. That I don't know what plant fibers they are and how they put them together, but they are very good.
Because it has the texture of like a chicken McNugget. Like it feels like processed animal parts put together, but it's not. But it has that texture. So it doesn't feel like chicken strip tenders or chicken wings. But yeah, it's very well flavored. Mm-hmm. I've liked everything I've had there. I'm hoping they shout out to Boulon Thai.
It's very good.
I would love to have a permanent tab there, but
maybe we'll go there today.
Maybe.
Which Beguiled? Well, the original Don Siegel, Clint Eastwood. You know, Sofia Coppola's film version doesn't make any sense. First of all, and I haven't read the book. I understand there is no black character, but the black character is the most interesting in her dynamic with Clint Eastwood is the most interesting thing in the Don Siegel original. Sofia Coppola doesn't really like to deal with issues of race clearly in her films. And then the casting of Nicole Kidman as the Geraldine Page character, Nicole Kidman looks too good. You needed a ripe, older woman to play this role, and that's where the weird, strange sexual ambiguities come in. But I'm not Sofia Coppola, so.
Apparently other people are using the word crunchy.
As they should. Crunchy. Oh God, Bloody Mama with Shelley Winters.
Someone said, go pee, don't end the live. Well, Nick doesn't like when I leave.
No,
so.
go do it.
Oh, now you're fine?
Well, go.
I don't need attitude. You want me to go? Or you want me to?
This is an attitude. This is just talking. Go pee.
Talk amongst yourselves, I guess.
Boy. Wow. There's your exit noise. Okay, it is pronounced Tisha. So I was right. Yeah, Clint Eastwood did the original Beguiled. Oh, Poseidon Adventure. You know, poor thing. I remember my mother talking. I love the Poseidon Adventure, and I remember my mom, every time it came on TV, she'd say, Shelley gained all that weight and she never lost it. And she's corny in that movie, and I know she was Oscar nominated for it, but that's also another movie I could put on at any time. And I've never seen is it Wolfgang Peterson who did, and I know Kurt Russell's in it, but I haven't seen the remake. And Tentacles, which is Shelley is in, which is really dumb, but yeah. And if you haven't, the original Alita is the best. I haven't seen Adrian Lyne's, I think it was made for HBO, his 97 remake with Jeremy Irons and Dominique Swain. But I remember that Dominique Swain, because she was underage when they filmed that. And there was all this talk about how when she'd sit on Jeremy Irons' lap, they'd make sure that there was a towel placed there. And it's just funny how we still culturally are so obsessed with wanting to see these stories, but then, do this whole song and dance of like, oh yeah, all the right things are happening, which, come to find years later, usually they aren't. You thought this live was for Babyface with the Barbara Stanwyck. I think we did a podcast on that one, that is a great pre-code film. I think you mean Kubrick put Shelley Winters through the ringer. I think you mean Shelley Duvall. Shelley Duvall would also be a fun whole idea because any of her Altman films. I think we did 3 Women recently. Next Stop, Greenwich Village. I can't remember if she's really good in that. I can't remember if she got an Oscar nod though. And no, The Greats I have not seen. I think they're on season 2 with Nicholas Hoult.
Did I miss? So it's not Taisha, it's Tisha.
Yeah.
Oh, my apologies to Tisha.
It's okay. Buffalo 66.
It's okay.
Well, we all live in error. We all live
Is
in
Tisha
ignorance.
mad? I don't want Tisha to be mad on her vacation.
Buffalo 66 I could rewatch. Vincent Gallo is a dick, but it's funny. I think Mubi just did an advertisement on that. Angelica Houston too.
Have you seen a movie called These Three?
I don't think so. Is that not with Betty?
That makes me think of on Drag Race, James Mansfield performed a song and she's singing about her prosthetic breast, but she's saying, what is she saying? I got these.
I have these.
I have these. Mm-hmm. Yeah. What is this movie called? These Three? Yeah.
And maybe if I know the cast, it'll jog my memory. I don't think so though.
I appreciate people being concerned for my bladder health. I do have issues.
He does.
Do you like Bugsy Malone?
The one with Jodie Foster from that same year she did that other movie. I've never seen that, but it's all children in this mobster movie.
Someone likes how you say woman like Dustin Hoffman.
Woman, like in Tootsie.
Oh, is that how she says it? Woman.
Tootsie's fun.
This isn't attitude, it's just talking. Well, Nick talks a lot then.
Yes. No. There's a lot to say. I don't know. I have a lot to say.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes, I have seen Equation to an Unknown. I have that on Blu-ray. I made you watch it. It's basically a porn film, but it's French. It's from.
Is it with that guy with the tattooed hairline?
I don't remember.
That French guy?
It's just these boys running around on motorcycles, and they all seem really sad.
Oh no, that's not it.
You've seen it. It has a vibe. I've actually seen it. The New Art in LA had a double feature of that and Knife Plus Heart. I don't like Knife Plus Heart, but Yeah.
Someone loves us. Can we do the Janet Jackson? Ooh, my heart looks like biscuits. Wait.
We got to get the...
Wait, we can't see. Okay, there. Well, yeah, we couldn't see it.
I'm not any good at it. I'm not good at love.
You said you did not. Nick, you said you did not study film. How did you get so knowledgeable about movies? You have an unhealthy obsession with film.
I have a good memory.
You devote many hours.
But before it was film, it was literature. Like I read voraciously. I still read a lot, but...
You do. Was Shelley an actual swimmer in real life?
I don't know. From Poseidon Adventure, I think. No, but apparently she used to be Marilyn Monroe's roommate, and she taught Marilyn how to be sexy. She always claimed. I think she taught her how to walk and talk. And
how did we end up with Agatha the cat? Well, we bought her.
We did. We bought her ass.
We bought her and her brother.
We did. We bought her first, had her for a day, and then this one every now and then has pity on things. And he's like, oh, we should get another one. And we went back to the same people, and we should have known, because they were like...
They gave us her brother at a discount.
They're like, take this one. We'll give him to you cheap. And immediately we knew that was a problem.
He's broken. But so now he lives with Nick's sister
in Minnesota.
He's happier there.
She's very much in love with him. But I just visited, and he was very affectionate with me. But he's special. You know, the boy cats, the males, especially in the Sphinx breed, are usually very sensitive and needy.
Yeah,
this one's needy, but the boys are like...
He's also twice the size of his sister.
Mm-hmm. Patch of Blue. I think Shelley won one of her Oscars for that. And I think in her Oscar speech, she said she hated playing this person because she's a racist. But that is a very depressing movie.
Have we seen the Willy Wonka trailer?
I haven't. I usually don't watch. I don't go out of my way to watch trailers unless Sigourney's in them. But I'm sure we'll see it.
I did watch it. It didn't send me anywhere. I'm curious, but
sure, it's not like Johnny Depp is the Michael Jackson.
Yeah,
version.
He's not as sort of fun, I guess. But I don't know. I'll definitely watch it. I don't have like high hopes or whatever. But
I don't mind Timothée, but it's like you're following the steps of Gene Wilder and Johnny Depp. I don't think he's that charismatic.
To me, the difference between crunchy and corny, to me, crunchy means like rough around the edges.
Yeah.
Like not refined.
Like we need to iron this shit out.
Yeah. And corny is kind of like lame.
Mm-hmm. Schmaltzy.
Because sometimes things that are crunchy are not necessarily bad. But to me, corny is like, And we got crunchy from an episode of Chopped.
I think he was Italian.
There was this older Italian man on Chopped, and he made some dish with pasta, I think.
And he was difficult because he's like, I'm just not using half these ingredients.
Yeah, he was very difficult. He did not want to follow any instructions, but he made a dish where the pasta was crunchy, but he said it like crunchy.
It was crunchy.
And I knew when I saw that episode that was a word that I needed to use.
Now in the lexicon of your dialogue.
Oh, poor Shelley Duvall. I need to rewatch Popeye.
Oh, God. That's a Robert Altman film. Well,
I don't think I've seen Popeye since the 80s.
I watched it probably 10 years ago, but there's a couple... I think I've never seen Thieves Like Us with her and Keith Carradine.
Keith is handsome.
He was 29 then. Yeah, much more than his brother. Mm-hmm.
Peter Sellers creeped me out, but I loved his film Being There.
Hal Ashby. Yeah, Being There is interesting. Shirley MacLaine. I prefer Ashby's Harold and Maude or Shampoo even. But yeah, Being There is odd. And Peter Sellers was a dick too.
Ooh, someone said back in the day I did a staged reading with Shelley Winters of The Crucible in North Hollywood.
Oh my God. And The Crucible is a lot of fun.
I would like to hear about that. Yeah. Did I wash my hands? No.
Oh God, Shelley in Night of the Hunter. Yes, when Robert Mitchum, she marries Robert Mitchum because he wants access to these kids who have the treasure he wants or whatever, and she's like wants to have sex with this man she married, and he is making her pray to the Lord. Oh my God, yeah, it's children.
Pritzi's Honor with Angelica Houston.
That hurt.
I don't think I've seen that movie.
I know. I keep saying we should. Kathleen Turner and Nicholson. Yeah, John Huston directed that. Angelica's Oscar-winning role.
I do really like Hush Hush, Sweet Charlotte.
Oh yeah, I mean,
A Patch of Blue. Shelley's character is a piece of work.
She has a blind daughter who falls in love with a black man, played by Sidney Poitier.
Oh.
And it's in the 60s, so you know.
Jenna Ortega reminds me of Shelley Duvall. It's the eyes.
I think
and she's so frail looking.
Mia Goth reminds me of Shelley Duvall too.
Yeah, Shelley Duvall seems to have, well, it seems like she has some mental health issues.
She's
having a hard time.
Oh, yes.
And Dr. Phil exploited her.
These three is the original Lillian Hellman play that became the Children's Hour, and Children's Hour with Audrey Hepburn and Shirley.
Have we seen any of Dolly Parton's movies? I know I've seen Steel Magnolias and 9 to 5 and Best Little Whorehouse in Texas.
And
what else is there?
Rhinestone.
Oh, with Sylvester Stallone.
Mm-hmm. Straight Talk.
With just her. Oh, that's right, where she's the radio host. Yeah, so I've seen like 5 Dolly Parton.
We've seen more. I'm trying to think what else she's in. But Joyful Noise.
Oh, with Queen Latifah, that's right.
That's not very good, but sure.
Oh, I don't think we're that witty, but thank you. I think everyone else is more funny than I am, but
it's not true. You're very funny.
I like Tootsie. Did we review? We reviewed Tootsie.
No.
Oh, we didn't?
Mm-mm.
Oh. Well, I do like it. Oh, Tisha's all good. Okay, good.
Yes, these 3 removed the lesbian content, but even in the Children's Hour, which was between that was 61, that and Preminger's Advice and Consent were the first films that are allowed to deal with homosexuality in American cinema. It's, pretty low key even.
Nick is being accused of running that mouth.
I mean,
it's not an accusation. These are facts.
It is a fact. It's fine. I do run it. And what?
You've been found guilty.
Mm-hmm. I better get the death penalty because it's going to keep going.
Oh, we're someone's favorite show. Thank you.
I'm Edward. God, when that man that hits on all the women in Tootsie but can't remember any of his lines.
Oh gosh, people make fun of me for still having DVDs. Guess I'm just old.
No, I like tangible things.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen Oppenheimer?
We see it Tuesday.
We watch it on Tuesday.
To Sleep with Anger, yeah, that's a great film. That's on Criterion. Charles Burnett.
Oh, I lost my spot. Oh, God. Do a Sidney Poitier movie.
Well, there's a vast filmography to choose from, but I keep getting Joseph to try to watch In the Heat of the Night.
Didn't we watch the movie where he's like the last person on Earth? Or
I think you're thinking of when I had that Belafonte film on.
Oh, yes.
The World, the Flesh, and the Devil with Ingrid Stevens. Yeah, that's an interesting movie.
Oh, wow, I really got lost. Okay. Dale Dickey should have played the Geraldine Page role in The Beguiled.
Yes, you needed a ripe woman that the wounded soldier felt compromised in sleeping with. Why would Colin Farrell not want to sleep with Nicole Kidman?
Oh, someone's been watching vintage 1980s comedies. Yeah. The 80s are such a great time.
They were good. Oh, yeah. Merle Oberon, who's in the original These Three, she had, because her mother, I believe, was Indian, and she didn't ever want to admit that she was mixed race. And so her mother lived with her, and when people visited, she made her mother act as the housekeeper.
Oh, gosh.
Shameful. Shame.
Imitation of life.
Mm-hmm.
Shelley Winters received swimming lessons from Olympic champion and big screen Tarzan Johnny Weissman.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that sounds familiar. You've seen A Place in the Sun. I had a movie night for it, and I printed out a copy of a chapter in the film Zeroville by Steve Erickson, and I made everybody that came to the movie night had to take a copy of that chapter with them because I loved how Steve Erickson wrote about George Stevens in A Place in the Sun. But there's actually the book it's based on is An American Tragedy, and I think there's an old film version I've never seen with Sylvia Sidney.
Oh, apparently Shelley Duvall did an interview not too long ago. I hope she's doing better.
She's in a new movie.
Oh, really?
She's in some indie horror film. I think that's already shot.
Oh, well, I'll watch that. Well, someone has 7 cats and they're fostering an abused kitten.
Oh,
well, you're doing the Lord's work.
I was just gonna say that. The Pickle, is that with Danny Aiello? I think.
Oh, you were an extra on The Pickle.
I think that's with Danny Aiello. And somebody else I really like. I remember that very bizarre film.
Oh, Rhinestone was so bad, I get nauseated thinking about it. Damn.
Sylvester Stallone trying to act like he's cute and carefree, singing with Dolly Parton is.
I don't remember the movie, to be honest.
Oh, it's bad. And that's Bob Clark, who did A Christmas Story and Black Christmas.
Have you been to Vidiots yet?
I have not, in Eagle Rock, and I want to.
Someone needs to invite me to go.
Well, I told you they had a screening of Mulholland Drive there I wanted to bring you to, but there's a lot going on.
Was there? I wish I never got rid of my DVDs. I used to buy 5 for $25 at Blockbuster every Friday. Oh, I have very fond memories of going to Blockbuster in uptown Minneapolis. I
do too. In Hollywood Video. Oh my God.
I was never, I don't like things, so I don't like to collect things, but I always enjoyed seeing all the things because it always felt like, in a lifetime, I'll never get to watch all of these.
Well, it's like watching all these French films and all these people just have these, like, somehow have a room with a wall or 2 to 3 walls of just books that are the wall. It's like, I want that. I like that.
Well, you should get a place where you can do that.
Okay.
Why don't we find you a place you can live where it's just books and movies everywhere?
Sounds nice.
Are we going to see Oppenheimer on? I don't know what they're doing because it's a screening.
They offered both. I chose IMAX for us because I assume that's what you prefer.
Oh. We're going to see the Barbie movie on Thursday.
Yes, because all of the screenings I was invited to, which there were 3, they wouldn't allow any guests due to the volume of interest. And it's like, well, he's got to see it, so we're seeing it Thursday.
Oh, we watched Bruce Willis's The Color of Night not too long ago, I think, right?
Richard Rush.
Sleepy Hollow. Sleepy Hollow has a special place in my mind because when I had a living situation where I started getting, well, it doesn't matter, I guess. When I first started getting Netflix delivered to me, like the discs, one of the first movies I selected was Sleepy Hollow. And I would watch like the first 10 minutes and then I would not finish it, return it. And for like a year, I would keep requesting it, thinking I would finish it. And I never did. So I got Sleepy Hollow in the mail like 10 times.
Wow. And you missed
and
out
never watched
that
it.
great supporting role from Casper Van Dien.
Casper Van Dien is in it?
Yeah.
Oh.
Fat Girl. Okay. I love Catherine Breillat. Fat Girl might be my favorite film by her. I think I made you watch it when we first started dating. We
should do a Poitier tribute video on your channel. Huh?
No, somebody just did. They just did one.
Oh, they just did. I'm like, I'm not prepared for that because I'd have to watch a bunch of movies. I can't do that.
I haven't seen the documentary on Apple TV about that I would like to watch. But yeah, I like Sydney. I probably liked Belafonte more. He was edgier. You know, Poitier had to do a lot of, like, Guess Who's Coming to Dinner is hard to watch.
Did we review Looking for Mr. Goodbar?
No, but I had a movie night for that back when we lived in Minneapolis. And I made, what did I make? a good bar cake or something, or pie. But yeah, that's a fun movie. A young Tom Berenger, Diane Keaton. What?
Should we oh, someone would love a review of Cry Freedom.
I have never seen Cry Freedom, but I would, yeah, that obviously I would watch that.
Did we review The Hunger?
No, but I reviewed it when it came out on Blu-ray for Ion Cinema, but I love that movie.
Oh God, anytime we talk about Rocky Horror Picture Show, which version of the Rocky Horror Picture Show do you both?
Oh, the original.
I just lost. Oh, versus what? There's not an original?
The TV one with Laverne.
Oh.
I think, which I've only seen clips of, to be fair, of Laverne as Dr. Frankenfurter, but you can't beat what Tim Curry did.
I lost my place.
You're getting close.
Oh, I am? Okay. Mm-hmm. Let's see. Talk amongst yourselves. Oh. Napoleon trailer?
I haven't watched the trailer. I'm sure I'll come across it before it comes out this fall. That might even be in Venice, Napoleon, but I don't know. Should it be in English? Should Ridley Scott have done it? Probably not.
Can you review weird movies like Vivarium?
We did review Vivarium.
We did review Vivarium. I had to turn the comments off because it's not a good review, but
we were just starting out.
We were just starting, and I didn't watch the movie, so it's not a good review. But there is a review for Vivarium.
Diane Cannon. Yeah, she was pretty fly back in the day.
Oh, I just got stuck.
F for Fake. You know, I've owned that forever and have not watched it.
Your new place would be like the apartment in Haneke's Cache.
Yeah. Oh God, I haven't watched that in years either.
I think I liked going to Blockbuster more than getting home and watching the movie I selected.
Oh, not me.
I had more fun like looking at all the movies.
It was all of it.
But by the time I got home, like I could go to bed now.
Oh no. Oh no. I remember the first time I moved to the Twin Cities and went to a Hollywood Video, and I remember renting The Fugitive Kind, Women on the Verge of a Nervous Breakdown, and with Shanghai Express. And I watched I was
Do Glenn or Glenda?
We've seen that. I have the Ed Wood collection. It's hard to sit through.
Are we going to review Talk to Me?
Yes. I've already seen it, but we're going on Wednesday.
Did we review American Gigolo?
I don't think so, but I made you watch it one of the last times when my mom visited. I like American Gigolo. I liked it a lot more than you did.
What's next week's theme?
Undecided yet.
Undecided.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Someone worked at Blockbuster. It was fun, but my boss was stabbed over a late fee once.
Oh my God. I believe it.
That's crazy, but I believe it.
Oh yeah. I'm a big Konchalovsky fan. Maria's Lovers I've also owned for years though and have not watched, and I like Nastasia Kinski.
We have received so many comments about Sounds of Freedom.
You passed on it.
I mean, I don't know that I would watch it at this point to make a video. Maybe like a secret, maybe for the podcast when it comes out on video or streaming. I mean, do you want to go to a theater and pay to see Sounds of Freedom?
I like Mira Sorvino. I'll support her. But what do you think of The Way We Were? I've never seen it. My mother loved it. I'm not a big Barbra Streisand fan, but I will watch it eventually.
Thank you, Jimmy. What are our thoughts on Angels in America?
I've never seen it staged. I've only seen Mike Nichols' HBO miniseries, which I really liked.
I've only seen the miniseries. What year did that come out?
I was in college, 2003, maybe.
So I think I watched that right before. Yeah, I can see myself sitting. Yeah, I was still in Vegas when I watched it. Yeah, it was powerful. I could actually rewatch it but I remember thinking I really liked Patrick Wilson and
Mary Louise Parker,
the nurse who played
Jeffrey Wright.
Al
Pacino's pretty damn good as Roy Cohn. I mean, scary good. But
have we reviewed any Almodovar films?
We did a video review for All About My Mother when Criterion released it on Blu-ray.
Oh.
You don't remember?
No.
It's one of my favorite Almodovars.
Wait, which one?
All About My Mother.
No. Well, wait, didn't we do the one about the airplane? I'm so excited.
We didn't do a review on that. You just like it.
Oh. We could do a Johnny Depp theme with like his bad movies.
There are a few.
I need to see whose birthday is next Saturday.
I've only seen Victor Victoria once. And you know, the Julie Andrews one is a remake, technically. Blake Edwards, she was married to Blake Edwards, who might have been bi. I might have that mixed up in my head. But I have the original I've never watched either.
Thank you, Donna Marie. Have we seen the Rock Hudson documentary?
No, I think it's at Outfest as well. I will watch that. I'm not going to see that Outfest though.
Have you seen Citizen Cone?
I have not.
How long did I live in Vegas? 7 years.
We did.
Well, we did a Julian Sands
last week or the week before, where Gothic was the theme of the podcast.
Oh no, we did. Oh, but we didn't do a live theme.
No.
Oh yeah. So we did a podcast episode for the film Gothic, which stars Julian Sands.
Although someone reached out to me on Instagram, and it's not a film I was familiar with Julian Sands, starring Ellen Barkin and Isabella Rossellini and Jodie Foster, directed by Mary Lambert, called Siesta, which now that I know, I have to see that film. I have to see Siesta. That's on the docket. I need to find a copy.
Oh, so one more movie in the house?
No, that doesn't necessarily mean that.
Okay.
Carne Tremula. Is that Live Flesh is the English translation with Javier Bardem.
Someone loves us. Thank you.
Wisconsin Death Trip. You and I rented that from Hollywood Video.
We did?
Mm-hmm. We did.
Someone worked at Hollywood Video. They had to wear the tie and the cummerbund. So much fun. Oh, it's nice to hear that. It's always fun to hear places I liked, like the people liked working there.
I've never seen Yentl. My sister keeps telling us that we have to watch Yentl.
Next Saturday is Willem Dafoe's birthday.
That'd be good. I just finished Poor Things last night, which he's going to be in.
A Wong Kar-wai theme. What do I know from Wong Kar?
You haven't seen any Wong Kar-wai, but I have that very nice box set that Criterion put out, even though there was some controversy about it. But
is Selena Gomez in 5 movies to do a poll? Because the one she's in, I did not like. The Woody Allen movie.
Spring Breakers, but she's barely in it. A Rainy Day in New York is bad, I think. And then she's in a really bad movie with Paul Rudd. I'm forgetting the title of that. I hated it. Did
we review Clerks?
No. And you know what? I've never seen Clerks. I've seen Mallrats, unfortunately, more than once, but I've never seen Clerks, or therefore Clerks 2.
I think Pretty Baby was rated X, or when it came out, right?
No.
No?
Mm-mm.
I thought I read that the rating, like in the UK, maybe was something, or I don't know.
John McTiernan. We watched Basic recently. I put it up in the bedroom upstairs, and Connie Nielsen's accent work, pretty bad. But it's, for a John Travolta movie, decent.
I'm so condescending to Nick.
You are.
You think I am?
Mm-hmm. You've gotten better.
Interesting. Okay, well, it's past an hour, and I haven't eaten yet.
Streets of Fire. I'm a big Walter Hill fan, and Diane Lane is pretty good in Streets of Fire. I don't know. Yeah, Walter Hill would be good too.
Okay. Well, do you have anything else you'd like to say?
I guess no.
No? All right. Ta-ta.